Can you hear me, Mike?
Yes, I can, and I'm glad you're still on the show, and I wish you a speedy recovery with your own situation.
Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that, Mike. I appreciate it. Now, let's just look at what's the lines of capital from the banks and the forms of funding that are now available to these companies.
Well, first, I'll just agree with what you were saying before. These are sobering times. You're seeing worse unemployment, worse consumer confidence, worse GDP. The reserves taken by banks assume that loan losses will increase by 3 times. So when we talk about the lifeline to the U.S. economy, it really starts with the government. And the government looks to put $4 trillion of money to work. And that is a gargantuan effort to get the money in the right hands, in the right place, in the right time for something that's never been done before. So the role of banks is to help facilitate the movement of that money. In 2008, banks were the problem. Today, they can be part of the solution. They have the existing relationships with most of the country and the borrowers. They are in strong condition. Thank you, banking regulators. And they can help implement the government plan. And banks have been stepping in where possible so far. If you look at the growth of loans at banks, they're up $1 trillion over the last year. Most of that is in the last few months. In fact, the last month, you've had the most bank loan growth in history. So banks are 100% open for business. And after causing so many problems in 2008, they finally have a chance for a redemption.
If we look at individual, I mean, not a specific company as such, but first of all, companies can draw down on their existing lines. And let's take, for example, United Airlines. That's what it did. Secondly, companies can borrow by issuing debt, issuing new bonds. Well, there, the Fed comes in by guaranteeing under one of its loan programs, one of its facilities. And now you also have the possibility to issue new shares, again, as United has done. Of all these different financing mechanisms, which do you see as the most useful?
Well, look, the plumbing in the financial system was pretty broken as of a few weeks ago. So the Fed actions that they took in mid-March were similar to what took place during the global financial crisis, and they pretty quickly helped to, cure the plumbing situation, and that allowed large corporations to borrow again from the capital markets. Remember that banks are only 1/3 of the financial system. The other 2/3 are capital markets and other entities. So the Fed moving in the way they did, forcefully and early, had an immediate benefit to the largest companies.
Do you see a shortage of liquidity now, bearing in mind, admittedly, it's slow to get through to people, but the government PPP money is moving. The capital markets have been unfrozen with Fed liquidity. Do you see liquidity as being an issue for any company or any corporation to stay in business?
Well, you can never move fast enough. When it comes to liquidity in the capital markets are wide open. The first quarter was a record in terms of the issuance of bonds. So liquidity is there. The banks themselves have cash or near cash equal to $4 trillion. So that was the regulators making sure banks would have liquidity on hand. So the real question is getting that liquidity to the right borrowers in the right time, and doing so in a way that will be most effective. So that's the outstanding question. So the largest companies certainly are there. But I'd like to put something in perspective. PPP, the small business program, has gotten a lot of attention. And before I got on, you guys had mentioned the difficulty of bureaucracies reacting. That PPP plan, the Small Business Administration's program, they moved 500 times faster than typical in dispersing that money in 1 week. So you can either have speed or precision. And so right now the focus is on speed. So you're going to have mishaps. You're going to have some people who don't get the money that need it. You're going to have others who get it. We say, well, maybe they shouldn't have had it. But right now we're erring on the side of getting money to people. The liquidity is there. It's just a matter of getting it to the right hands in the right time.
Mike, I really appreciate you, sir, for coming on. That's all we needed to hear today to get the true perspective of what's happening. Please come back as we talk more on these issues. I appreciate it.